Good morning, Greg.
Good morning. How's everyone?
Good. How about you?
Well,
Good. Excuse me. Yeah.
Hey, Greg.
Good morning, Penny. How are you?
I'm here. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm here. It's Friday.
It is Friday. This week has only been about a month and a half long. So I figure we'll be finished with today in another 3 days.
Seems to be the price for taking a long weekend for Thanksgiving, right?
I guess so. And getting ready for exams.
Yep.
All right. So y'all had a little trouble with the YouTube, it sounds like.
Yeah. Hijinks. Well, we're going to talk about that quite a bit. We must be getting better at this. As soon as we smelled trouble, we started working on it.
Yes. That is the truth.
Are you with us, Nelson?
yes, sir. I'm right here.
Yeah, I see you as a phone number, not as a name. I just wanted to confirm. Oh.
Yeah, everyone on the freeway decides to get into accidents and
Yeah.
in the process get me gridlocked in between a massive semi-truck and whoever's in front of me. So no one's moving, basically.
Typical day in Bay Area commuting. Everybody goes to the freeway and parks.
Yes, sir. But I was at the office pretty late last night. But yeah, I sent you an email and kept you informed as to why.
Yeah. Morning, Bill.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
Doing okay.
Good. And Mia, I see you're there, and you're probably a little cold. I see you rubbing your hand.
Yeah, it's cold. Well, it's good. This room is wasn't used this morning, so we had snow yesterday, so it's cold in here.
Okay. We'll give people a couple of more minutes, and then we'll get started. I'll give you a chance to find the note I sent for the agenda. Hey, Carlos, are you doubling up, or is there somebody else being Carlos today?
No, I had to sign out and sign back in. I was getting a lot of pixelated screen.
Oh, okay. Okay. It'll probably drop. Oh, there we go. It dropped you. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. As Penny hinted at, we had some excitement with YouTube this week. Intellectual property and The Daily Show. Go figure. Nelson, are you in a good spot to actually talk about what you've done and the whole circumstances, or is it better if I do this?
I got it.
All righty.
So good morning, everyone, and hope everyone had an excellent Thanksgiving. So on Monday, there was a professor who conducted, instructor who conducted a class and used a video. Ouch, that kind of hurt. Used a video of the Daily Show, which had a professor from another university speaking in regards to the topic, I don't exactly remember what the topic was. But once I uploaded it to YouTube, then I usually go in and take a look at each of the videos. And I noticed that this was a third-party content which was being used, and it was not authorized by the proprietor of the video, which in this case would have been the Daily Show, Jon Stewart. Unfortunately, by the time I realized this and went to remove it from YouTube, YouTube had already pretty much blocked us for intellectual property rights violation and suspended our accounts. Suspended our accounts basically means we are now limited to upload only 15-minute videos. We cannot upload our normal videos, and most of our lectures and discussions last well more than 15 minutes, as well as 50 minutes in certain cases. So I've been pretty much with the legal team of YouTube, corresponding with them in trying to explain to them, hey, this was not done intentionally. This was only used as a teaching tool, and we were not trying to, profit off of this in any way, shape, or form. Unfortunately, YouTube does not want to hear that, and so I went ahead and Greg and Arun and myself, we came up with the idea of creating another MSON recording channel and to pump out the new content so our students and instructors and whoever else will have access to it. So the new channel is up and running. I have created the playlist. I've pushed the videos from Monday all the way up till yesterday through. And, so basically it's going to be the same format. I'm going to shoot over the links of YouTube to everyone, basically, and you will take that link and send it over to your instructors, and the instructors will go ahead and post it on EPGY. And the process does not change. There are no extra steps. No one has to do anything extra. It's just everything has been done in the back end, so it's up, running, and good to go. Greg, do you want to touch on this whole proprietor?
Right. So first, we're in good standing in our new account. They're not going to, draw any conclusions there. And what I like about this is it really doesn't change anything for the students or the instructors, because they're just going to go to eCollege and click the link. So it will take them to a channel that looks very much like the old one, but there's really no impact on them. What I wanted to touch on was we need to perhaps, I'm going to actually ask Stephanie to take lead on this, because this is really more an academic policy issue. And as much as they're reluctant to tread into internet protocols, I'm not so excited about treading into academic freedom, intellectual property, and how instructors can use copyrighted material in their classes. Just raise awareness with your staff, with your instructor. And for that matter, if students who have in the past done presentations, they probably need to be exposed to this as well. It was the bioethics class, ironically, where we ran into this trouble. And we're working on a long-term solution that doesn't include YouTube. So while we still need to be aware of, digital rights and academic freedom issues, this YouTube, is a position where they're required by the industry to follow this very closely. Anybody have any thoughts on this? Any questions? Okay, so I'll be asking Stephanie to revisit this issue with the instructors, certainly before spring starts. We don't want to discourage instructors from using any content that they choose to, but we do need to make them aware that it can create problems. And hopefully we'll get to a place where we don't need to worry about whether or not YouTube is looking over our shoulders.
Hey, Greg, out of curiosity, is it possible for the teachers to just share the links of the videos they want to show and have the students individually watch them? That way it doesn't get recorded and then it doesn't get flagged?
Yeah, they need to be creative, and that's definitely a good way to go. Another way to go, frankly, would be to stop the recording, present that content, and then start it up again when you're discussing. As long as it's not in the recording, it doesn't concern YouTube. So, frankly, I'm surprised we haven't already seen this, because we have a music instructor. Music. No, that's next semester. We have art classes. I mean, we have other places where this kind of content is potentially, available and could be presented in class. So we just need to remind people that, that is something to account for, and hopefully in the future it'll be less. It won't be less an issue. It would still perhaps be a violation, for example, of Comedy Central's, proprietary rights to that content, if it were on our own streaming server. But nobody's watching us that closely, not like they do at YouTube. So I think we'll be fine. And I'll bring back whatever Stephanie comes up with on this topic. Okay. Another thing that we've been working on, and we've been working on this for a couple of weeks, kind of lightly, was creating a back channel for communication when there are, emergencies. And we talked about setting up a chat group, and Nelson and I did a fair amount of work on this. We were hoping to use a service here at Stanford because it's encrypted. All of you have SUNETs. We thought this would be a pretty good way to go. But frankly, it hasn't installed well for Nelson, and so we're not going to use that, at least for now. What we'd like to try is called GroupMe, and I'm wondering if anybody else is aware of GroupMe. Okay, so GroupMe is basically works with phones, and they don't have to be smartphones. This was one of our concerns. We have a couple of schools where their cell phones are not. Cell phones are well, specifically at one school, cell phones are not allowed. And so we're looking for a way that we could make sure everybody gets the message when there's a need to get out some emergency stuff. So Nelson and I have been working on this. Nelson set up a GroupMe account for us last night, and we have a roster from Stephanie with everybody's phone numbers on it. But I'd like to make sure that these are not desktop phones, that if you have a mobile phone, that we get that number, because this would be a situation perhaps where you're not in class, but somebody else is, and there's, an outage. Or maybe there's a terrible problem with audio. We just want to be able to communicate with people and be able to reach them as quickly as possible.
One more thing, Greg, just
yes.
to add to this. This GroupMe application can be used, as Greg mentioned, on your on your phones, mobile devices, as well as on your system. So say if either you're trying to get a hold of myself or Greg for some reason to check a status on Blue Jeans account or something, and we are not in front of the desk at all times to respond to emails, because we do run around quite a bit, the message will ping our mobile devices and we will be able to respond. And also, if you're in this GroupMe channel, which is called MSON Recording, so if one of us is unable to answer and someone else is on the channel and logged in, and he or she might be able to help you as well. So we're not each reliant on one individual. So I think that would be a pretty good aspect of, just working together to resolve issues. And it also keeps a tracking. And so at the end of the week, I will pretty much compile the chats and see what were some of the major issues or some of the major concerns, I would say, and share that with the group on our weekly meeting. And yeah, it basically reduces email threads back and forth. We can immediately ask for certain pertinent information and resolve the issue as quickly as possible.
Okay, so you'll receive an invite from GroupMe probably on your phone, but also probably in your email. Is that right, Nelson?
That is correct.
Right. So all you have to do is, affirm that you want to join, and everything will be fine. We'll try this for a while, and if this doesn't work, yeah, Mia.
How do we look up the number you have?
How do we look up the number?
For me, like what number you have for me?
Oh,
If
okay.
it's my cell phone or my desk.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll email out the spreadsheet that has all the contact information on it. That's a great idea. We should probably just confirm that we have the latest and greatest information for everybody.
So don't we have that folder in Google Drive? Is it in there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'll look at that. I just didn't know if that's the one you were using.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'll look in that one. Okay.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so get us, if you have any updated information, be sure and get us, and I'll make sure and publish notes this morning so everyone else knows about this. But I use this in the summer with my summer camp program. For those of you who have been out here in the summer, I've always got one eye kind of looking up the hill at what's going on up there with our camps. And because my staff is spread across half of Stanford, which is like, say, spread, across half of town, this is really the best way for me to keep in touch and for them to keep in touch with me. So I think this is going to work really well for us. It's really meant to be that emergency back channel, but it can be used for anything. Like you have a question about, is anybody else having audio problems today? You put that out on GroupMe, and we'll all hear back. So it's really a very valuable resource. It looks like Greg is joining us. Morning, sir.
Morning, sorry I'm late.
I'll fill you in later with the notes. We've talked about the YouTube issue. We've just talked about GroupMe. So you'll be getting an invite to join a phone group. It's not a smartphone, but it also, by the way, as Nelson reminded me, is something you can go to on a web page. But it's basically a way that we can get a hold of each other in a quick moment.
Great.
You're not at your desk, but you've got your phone with you. So yeah, this is a pretty good back channel, and especially during emergencies. If you're the first person to see something, get the word out. That saves everybody a lot of, trying to communicate over each other to get the word out. So we're going to give that a try.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll remember back in, I'm thinking end of June, when we were here, we talked about how we were going to handle Blue Jeans and serving up recordings and all of that. And we came up with this idea that we would have a management module, or a way for multiple people to manage the Blue Jeans account from Malone. And honestly, we just got an answer for that yesterday, or the day before, 2 days ago. At this point, I don't think we need it as a management channel, but I want you to be aware that it is now possible for me to give you access directly to the Malone schedule. And I'm not sure why you would need to do this, but if you do, let us know, and we can give you access to the whole schedule. We'll see what happens by spring. Maybe we'll just open it up completely. I put in my notes that it's a little rough because it's a little awkward. In order for them to do this, they had to modify a technology called SAML, S-A-M-L, which is a way of authenticating. It's similar to WebAuth, but on the back end, it's kind of different. In the process of doing that, they really had to create an account outside of the Stanford domain. So my whole account was migrated by them yesterday directly to Blue Jeans out of the Stanford domain. I still have a Stanford account, but now all of the Malone stuff is in this Blue Jeans account. So when you're going to go into the Malone area, you don't log in with stanford.bluejeans. You log in bluejeans.com, and then the information that I'll share. So it's a little awkward. And, my browser's set up to, happily fill in a bunch of this stuff for me. So I'm always fighting with it because it's trying to log me into Stanford, and I'm trying to go directly to BlueJeans. Just be aware of that. So at the moment, I just wanted to let you know that, we were finally able to get that. And at this point, we don't need it as badly as we did at the beginning of the semester because we've got Nelson. But at least now Nelson can go directly to the source, get the videos, and upload them without us playing tag with an external drive, which is what we've been doing for about a month and a half now.
And playing Frogger in traffic and in the rain.
Yeah, there's construction up the road from us, and there are just herds of double-trailered semis going in both directions. So to get from my office to his, we literally play Frogger. We're diving between the semis. It's pretty exciting. So that's available, and if we come up with a need, we'll let you. We'll certainly be happy to share. Yes, Mia.
So does that modify how we can set up our own BlueJeans meetings?
That's a great question, and the answer is it doesn't change anything. Your account is still through stanford.bluejeans.com.
Okay.
So this was completely a custom effort. We're getting a lot of love from BlueJeans. They, in fact, first week when we get back from winter break, I'm meeting with their senior engineer and product managers to talk about specific features that we want. So if anyone has ideas, feel free to pass them my direction, and I'll be happy to evangelize for us. We're really getting a lot of attention. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I think I reported that the Life Size folks were here. Same thing. Top of product management wanted to know what it is we do, how it is we do it, and what it is we need to make it work better. So it's a great spot to be in, and you can actually, get a software company's ear and they're listening. Okay. I did not get notes from Stephanie. I'm sure it's just a busy time. I know it is for me. The academic side of the Malone program met last week, or maybe it was early. I think it was early this week, Tuesday, to discuss finals, end of the term, all the academic side, because as we know, there'll be kids who have papers to turn in later who can't, meet a final schedule or whatever. Just be aware that they've had a meeting, and I know there's a recording, but we haven't had a chance to get a hold of Martha and get it moved around. So I'm not sure that it's something we really need to sit in on, but when I do get Stephanie's notes, I will be sure and share them, because I think it's important that we know what the academic people are going to be doing with the end of term. And with that, does anybody have anything going on in their school over the next week or so? So I'm talking about next week. That's not in the schedule. I'm sure you've got snow that you didn't schedule, but
we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't get any snow out here. We're getting a ton of rain. We got a foot of rain in the last week up at my house. And we need three more feet to get out of the drought. So we're on our way. All righty. So first, is everybody aware of, and does everybody have access to the Google Drive that Mia mentioned earlier? Penny doesn't. Okay. I'll send a note. Would you just send Stephanie Zobe a note? Penny, do you have her email address? Spacebar to hold down your. Yeah. So Penny, I will shoot a note to Stephanie and copy you so that make sure that she's got you on the list and you have the link to that. The reason I've raised that is.
Yeah.
is there's
I don't have her. I think I can get her email from Justin. Justin has it. I'll
okay.
send her an email.
Yeah. I just wanted to make everyone aware that there is an actual academic calendar for this program published and stored there. And I haven't looked at it in terms of what the actual, when everyone's closing and stuff. I know we close on the 19th and don't come back until the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably pretty close to what everyone else is doing.
That's what we
Greg,
do.
going on in the recording right now.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing a horrible echo. Anyone else?
Yeah, it's Penny. If you can mute your.
Oh, sorry.
No, actually, that was it. That's great. So as long as that's come up, I want to make you aware that we have been working with Stanford's ITS and Blue Jeans because out of the Stanford location, they've observed, that is Stanford ITS, about 10 or 11% people reporting poor audio quality, echoing, that gating issue we talked about before where when people speak softly at the beginning and the end of their sentences, it drops out. That's being worked on. There's a couple of things going on. First, Blue Jeans is sending engineers out here to sit in on some of our meetings and observe and gather data directly at the source. And secondly, the ITS group is building, probably will have it done over this weekend, a dedicated SIP trunk line from Stanford to L3, which means because what we observed was audio traffic was getting bounced around a lot. And it wasn't so much that it was getting lost, but by the time it stopped bouncing around, it was too far out of sequence to be a useful packet and was getting tossed. That's a problem. So we're on that. We're going to get that fixed. A dedicated SIP trunk is a pretty cool thing if you can get one, and we have one. So I expect that we'll see improvements as early as next week in audio quality. All right. Well, the floor is open if anybody has anything they want to talk about, any questions or observations they want to bring.
I attended the academic meeting on Tuesday. So if anybody who wasn't there, just a couple points that you might want to pass on, one to your teachers, that grades are due January 5th. If you're a semester course, then grades and comments, like a narrative comment, would be due. If it's a full year course, then just grades and some basic pat on the back type thing are due for comments. Also, they were troubleshooting eCollege, where students were able to see their grades on a test, but they weren't able to see what they got right and what they got wrong. And I believe eCollege is working on that one. Those were the two big things, I think.
Greg, I really appreciate that. We were going to get some notes from Stephanie, but they haven't come in yet. So getting that feedback, great. Did they have any technical issues?
Just on that, just what I mentioned on the eCollege thing, but
yes.
I'm not. Other than that, nobody mentioned any other technical issues.
Good deal. Yeah, my feeling is things have really settled into a nice groove. We're in a good space.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. All right. Well, it's Friday and we have just a month till the end of the day, right, Penny? You all have a great Friday and we'll see you sometime next week.
Thanks, you, Greg. You guys have a good weekend.
You too.
Greg, can I ask you a question?
Sure can.
Okay, so I'm in the MSON text folder in the Google Drive, and there's a file called owned by G. Miller, MSON Tech Support Contact List. Is that the right one?
That's the right one.
Okay, I updated mine. I just want to make sure I have the right
okay.
file.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
Very good.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Where'd my mouse go? Oh, it's clear over there. See you later, Nelson.
Yep, I'm in the office now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, as soon as I pull in, meeting's over.